In MegaMan 1, I would typically advise extinguishing Fireman with Iceman's ability, but what you have to do to beat him Buster Only without taking a hit is be sure to dodge his first attack just so. And then once you do, if you hit A and B at the same time and just keep doing that, you'll have him beat in no time flat. You don't even have to look at the screen. In MegaMan 1, I would advise using Electman's weakness, Cutman's ability, in order to actually beat him. But if you insist on using the Buster, Electman can either be one of the hardest bosses to beat Buster Only, or incredibly easy. If you get his timing down, what you need to do is shoot him in the armpit as soon as he points up in the air. If you wait a little too long, he's going to hit you with his very powerful electric attack. If you shoot too soon, the invulnerability frames won't be gone yet. So if you elect to beat Electman this way, you might be shocked. In MegaMan 1, Cutsman is weak to Gutsman's ability. But if you want to beat Cutman, Buster Only, this is how you do it. So you can try to shoot him indefinitely as he's trying to jump up, but if he throws his scissors, you can run under him like so, and make your way to the right-hand side of the screen. Continue to jump over his scissors, and you shouldn't have any problem beating Cutsman Buster Only. Rock beats scissors. In MegaMan 1, Bomb Man's weakness is Fireman, but I would typically advise starting with Bomb Man. So to beat him Buster Only without taking a hit, try to get close to him so he keeps jumping. If he does throw a bomb, just keep walking the other way until the explosion completely blows up, or else the proximity of it will probably get you. But if you just keep up close to him, Bomb Man's plan should blow up in his face. In MegaMan 1, if you want to take out Iceman quickly, you can use Electman's ability, which frees up some time and is cool to know, but if you want to beat him Buster Only, this is how you do it. If you space your shots just right, you can maximize your efficiency and not have to worry about jumping through his 6 ice blasts so much. Because for the second batch of 3 that he shoots out, you have to do about a half jump, or else the middlemost ice blast will probably catch you. But if you just stick to the pattern and keep blasting away, you should knock Iceman out cold. In MegaMan 1, Gutsman's weakness is Bomb Man's ability. But if you want to beat him Buster Only, he's really not too bad. The worst part is if he tries to invade your personal space. But in order to dodge the rocks that he throws, just don't try to jump the tremor attack that he does. If you try to jump it so you aren't affected by it at all, you risk messing it up, and then you will certainly get hit by the rock. However, if you just don't attempt to jump, you will have all kinds of time to dodge the boulders that he throws at you. And I'm sure that you can beat Gutsman Buster Only, if you have the guts. I legitimately thought that beating Woodman in MegaMan 2 Buster Only no damage was impossible before I tried to do it. But it's actually possible. But you do have to jump over his leaf shield, obviously. And if you jump at just the right time, the falling leaves won't get you either. The really sticky part is when you have to run under Woodman. So go away from the wall a little bit, jump over the leaf shield, run under him, and jump so you don't get hit by those falling leaves. If you can get on the other side of him, you're not out of the woods yet, but you're pretty close to beating him at this point. And if you're able to do that, you can show Woodman that he was barking up the wrong tree. In MegaMan 2, Airman's one of the hardest bosses to beat Buster Only no damage as well. It basically relies on him letting you, because there's some tornadoes that he shoots out that you just can't jump over as far as I can tell. But if you wait after his first 3 gusts of wind that he summons, if you stay behind him, that gives you one less series of tornadoes to have to jump, and in this case it did save her bacon. And then once he jumps back over, stay behind him again, and that should cool his jets. In MegaMan 2, Flashman is yet another really difficult boss to do Buster Only no damage with. It's mostly due to the uneven terrain you have to fight him in, but the main thing is you want to stay in the middle and you want to try to jump over him when he's close to you. Otherwise, the way that his shot spreads out, he's probably going to hit you with one of his buster shots. But if you stay really close to the edge, where it's like a staircase, and just jump over him as he's walking down the staircase, and then stay in the middle and just jump over him every time. That's probably about the best way to deal with him, in a flash. In MegaMan 2, here's a crash course on beating Crash Man. Buster Only, no damage, with a Guitar Hero controller if you want. You don't have to. That part's optional. But if you want to beat him Buster only, no damage. If you understand how Crash Man works, he's really not too bad. You just gotta be patient about it. So for whatever reason, Crash Man will only jump when you shoot. The thing that's weird about this, though, is he will jump a split second before you shoot, so I guess there's a minor delay on when Mega Man's Buster shoots, because Crash Man will jump immediately. But that's not really such a big deal. If you jump up, straight up, and on the way back down, shoot Crash Man right in his face, and then just continue running under him, that's when he'll throw his Crash Bomb, and if you just keep running as fast as Mega Man's legs will carry him in the opposite direction, the Crash Bomb nor the explosion of the Crash Bomb should ever hit you, so Crash Man should crash and burn at your hands. In Mega Man 2, the hardest part about beating Heat Man Buster only no damage is this little bunny hop right at the start. You can't give it a full jump, it's like a half jump, but if you do it immediately and do it quickly, you can hop through. Beyond that, he's actually pretty easy, because what you want to do is just let him shoot his 3 flame pillars, and then as soon as they all land, turn around and shoot him. And then all you have to do is wait for him to throw his entire flaming body at you. And just rinse and repeat. You can try to shoot before the flame pillars, but sometimes he takes longer to throw himself at you than other times. So you may as well just as soon as all 3 hit, turn around, shoot him. He's not going to do anything until then. And that's pretty well it. You can multitask this, get a grilled cheese sandwich, cook it on his head if he's taking a long time, turn around, and that's about all she wrote. In Mega Man 2, Bubble Man is probably one of the easiest Robot Masters to beat Buster only. No damage with the Guitar Hero controller, you just gotta know his pattern and it's not too bad. You want to run back and forth, and you want to stand around under the 2nd and 3rd spike from the wall. If you do that, it maximizes the distance he moves. He'll typically go to the wall, and you don't have to go as far, so you can manipulate where he goes better. So you want to wait till he gets to about ground level, and then start shooting him, and then jump over his shots. So by then, he should start levitating, and then he won't shoot you. Then it's easier to walk under the bubbles. The bubbles spawn either 1 or 3 at a time. I think it might have something to do with how many Buster shots you have going out. So if you continue to do that, every so often he will shoot a frenzy of them, but I don't hate to burst his bubble. Ah, the commander of everybody's favorite weapon, the Metal Blade. None other than Metal Man himself. Let's beat him Buster only, no damage with the Guitar Hero controller. He can be pretty tough, but so long as you always get him to jump and have it so the conveyor belts push you towards the wall, it's easier to space the jumps between the Metal Blades. Sometimes he'll throw 3, and you gotta time your jump just so you don't jump right onto one of the Metal Blades. Otherwise, it's really important to space your shots out, so you can actually get 2 or 3 hits in between, because if you just spam it, you have that much more Metal Blades to have to try to dodge. If you time your shots just right, well, that's metal. Oh, I thought I'd just show off a little bit of Magnet Man here in Mega Man 3, without taking any damage using the Buster with a Guitar Hero controller, because why not? In case you're not really familiar with Magnet Man, he has 2 attacks. This Magnet attack, which pulls you towards him to inflict damage, or his Magnet Missile attack, where he sticks himself to the ceiling and shoots magnets at you. For the most part, if you're trying to do this kind of challenge, or just trying to beat him at all, or whatever, if you just kind of stay in the corner, it'll keep you good and safe, because he can't hit you with his magnet attack if you run against the wall, and then even if he does jump up to the ceiling and sticks his fool head there, you have plenty of time to get out of the way. But normally you might be able to slide as well. Also, when he does the 2 jumps from side to side, the 2nd jump is way higher, so if you're not good at sliding, just walk under him for that 2nd jump right there. And that's how you do it. Here's a little taste of Hard Man with a Guitar Hero controller, Buster only. Not damageless though, but what you want to do if you do want to go damageless is jump over the hard knuckles like so. And if you jump over them close to the walls, they'll just kind of disappear into nothing, but the Guitar Hero controller, it's like especially tricky to do it. But if you just want to beat him, make sure he doesn't crush you from above. The hard knuckles really don't do that much damage. Otherwise, you can just kind of pump him with the Buster and He's not hard man after all, he's more like easy man. Get it? What do you say we give Top Man a spin with the Guitar Hero controller, Buster only, and damageless? Top Man's actually one of the easier bosses to go damageless on, as he takes more damage than usual from the regular Buster. Growing up, I always started with Magnet Man, but Top Man's not a bad choice, outside of having to use Top Man to beat Shadow Man with. But anyway, all he does is he spins himself back and forth, as well as throws 3 tops at you. If you have yourself some good distance and utilize the slide to its full potential, it's probably not going to hit you, so just hammer him with all of your Buster Blasts, and you should be good. I would argue that Shadow Man is the hardest of the 8 Robot Masters in Mega Man 3 to beat Buster only, let alone Buster only with a Guitar Hero controller. They may as well just call them Coin Flip Man, because Shadow Man either does a slide or throws 2 Shadow Blades at you. There is no tell, he just does one or the other. So if he's close to you, you just have to guess what he's going to do and dodge accordingly. If you can actually get some distance from him though, you have a split second of reaction time. But if you're not too good at using the slide, you can jump all of the stuff. But I wouldn't really recommend sliding anyway, even though you can slide under the Shadow Blade. But if you grind it out, you can get out from under this shadow. Let's do Snake Man in Mega Man 3, Buster only, no damage with the Guitar Hero controller. The hardest part of this battle is actually right at the start, because sometimes he will just jump and not shoot his snakes. If he shoots his snakes, as you see as I did earlier, you can get through, but it's a really tight jump. You have to get it pretty near perfect in order to squeeze through, otherwise you're gonna have to wait for him to just jump and jump over him that way. Otherwise, if you keep yourself centered pretty well, and just make sure you always jump over him, you should be good to go. Also, I didn't find this very useful in this battle, but you are actually able to shoot the snakes that he shoots and kill them. So maybe in certain situations you could do that to save yourself, but with the Buster, it's not overly useful. Beating Gemini Man, Buster only, with a Guitar Hero controller, is hard to do damageless, but if you want to try to do it, it's all about timing. When Gemini Man is in the air, he won't shoot you, and the way that his jumps are spaced, you can shoot him once, and then the second jump, he will shoot you, so you have to wait a split second between jumps. Keep doing that until you get to the second phase, where he will only jump when you shoot him. So you don't want to spam your shots when he's close to you, otherwise he won't jump over you, but if you time it just right, he'll jump over you, and you could probably do this damageless. My favorite part about fighting Needle Man is you can walk right up to him and get one courtesy shot off on him. He's very polite, that Needle Man. On paper, beating Needle Man, Buster only, without taking damage, really shouldn't be that bad. He only has 2 moves, one of which being when he jumps in the air and shoots 4 needles at you. Typically, when he shoots 2 of the needles, if you jump then, the other 2 will just shoot over your head, and you'll dodge them. The second of which is when he tries to hit you with the needle on top of his head. So long as you're not close to him, he's probably not going to hit you with it. It's also fairly easy to jump over, but his jumping patterns are pretty erratic. Sometimes he'll jump like pretty much the whole length of the screen. Other times he'll jump like his body length onto you. So that's what makes it hard to do damageless, but if you're patient and try to keep your distance, you can pull this needle out of a haystack. Beating Sparkman, Buster only, no damage, is actually really frustrating to pull off, as you'll see here in a minute. This part's not so bad, but the second part, where he's on this little raised part, you're too crowded and he will always hit you with that spark ball. There might be a way where you can jump in the corner and then slide under it in such a way that you won't get hit by it, but I haven't figured it out if you can. And I just don't have that kind of precision with the Guitar Hero controller right now. So we'll just have to beat him normally. However, on the right-hand side, if you stay close to, like, the hill in the middle, he'll jump right over you, so you don't have to worry about him on that side. You have to worry more about trapping you on the left. Otherwise, he's fairly easy to hit. You just kind of pump him with the Buster and make sure you jump where you want the spark to go, and then this spark will fly. In Mega Man 4, Toadman is probably the best Robot Master to start with. He's incredibly easy, but if you want to be morbid about it, Drillman is his weakness. But all you need to do is wait for him to start doing his rain dance, and then shoot him in the stomach when he raises his arms. You have quite a bit of wiggle room to do this. So if you just stand here and just keep shooting him like so, he gets stuck in an AI loop. It works just as well with the drill power, but Toadman's ability is really good to use in normal levels. It's basically a screen wipe for most enemies. There, and now you've been Toad, so you won't forget. In Mega Man 4, Brightman is weak to Toadman's ability, but to beat him Buster only without taking a hit, he may be the most frustrating of the Robot Masters, mostly because of his Flash ability, but in order to prevent him from doing the Flash ability, if you do nothing but charge shots, but also, as soon as the battle starts, shoot him with one regular shot, he will not do his freeze attack, so then all you have to worry about is dodging his blaster and his jumping, which can be manipulated by whether or not you jump, it seems like. So make sure he doesn't get any bright ideas. In Mega Man 4, Pharaoh Man's weakness is the time stopper, but if you want to try to beat him Buster only without taking a hit, here's what you can try to do. This first part is the most temperamental part, to get past him without taking a hit. But I do find beyond that, if you get close to him and just start pumping him with the Buster, he has a tendency to want to shoot his Pharaoh shot back at you and just kind of take it. So if you're able to manipulate him so he stands on the lower parts of that hill in the middle of his stage, it makes it easier for him to jump over you, so you don't have to dodge around him very much. And that, my friends, is how you make this Pharaoh moan. Ringman's weakness in Mega Man 4 is the Pharaoh shot, but if you want to beat him Buster only without taking a hit, this is how you do it. First thing you want to do is close the distance to Ringman as soon as you possibly can. Once you do that, it becomes much easier to dodge his boomerang ring attacks. You just shoot him once on the ground and shoot him once when he jumps in the air if you're able to do so. If you have a little more dexterity than using a Guitar Hero controller, you could get the charge shots off on him a little easier. But just using the regular pea shooter works just as well, it'll just take you a little bit longer. And that, my friends, is how you ring out Ringman. In Mega Man 4, Dustman's weakness is Ringman's ability. Why is Ringman's ability strong against a vacuum cleaner boss? Your guess is as good as mine. I'd love to know what it is in the comments. I'd also love to know why they couldn't just go ahead and call him Garbage Man. But if you want to beat Dustman Buster only without taking a hit, he has 3 different moves. He does have his suction attack to try to eat you or at least pull you towards him. He also regurgitates dust at you, where if you don't move and just jump straight up, you'll dodge it every time. And lastly, he will try to jump on top of you, which is pretty easily dodged if you just move or otherwise slide. Dustman is just a test of patience, when he decides that he's hungry and he's trying to eat you. But if you stay patient and keep using your charge shots, you'll make Dustman bite the dust. In Mega Man 4, Skullman's weakness is Dustman's ability, which I personally find quite humorous. But to be honest, to beat Skullman Buster only without taking a hit isn't too bad once you understand his patterns. So, he does one of 2 things. He'll either shoot 3 Buster shots at you, which will go different directions depending on where you are on the screen, or he will do his Skull Barrier, where he just stands there, which gives you ample time to charge up your charge shot, which should kneecap Skullman rather quickly. And if you want to see another Robot Master get beaten Buster only without taking a hit, tune in again tomorrow. In Mega Man 4, Dive Man's weakness is the Skull Barrier. Not sure why missiles are weak to skulls, I would think it's the other way around. But in any event, if you want to beat Dive Man Buster only without taking a hit, he has a tendency to torpedo himself at you, as well as shoot torpedoes. The thing to bear in mind about the torpedoes that he shoots is you can actually shoot them. They can be taken out pretty easily with a charge shot, and also make it through to him as well. But if you don't have time, just one regular pea shooter shot will take out the torpedo as well. And if you ask Dive Man really nicely, he might even take a dive for you in this battle. In Mega Man 4, Drill Man's weakness is the dive missile. But if you're looking to beat him Buster only without taking a hit, he has 3 different attacks. The first being this burrowing attack that he does. He always starts the fight with it, but he will do it periodically through the battle as well. Just try to stay close to him throughout the whole thing, because if he decides he wants to start doing his drill bomb attack, it's much easier to jump over the drill bomb and have it explode outside of its proximity if you jump near him. Otherwise, if you're lucky like I was in this fight, he's just going to try to jump on your head repeatedly, which is much easier to dodge, and you can also get free shots in on him. So just keep him crowded in case he decides to use the drill bomb. And that's the drill in beating Drill Man. In Mega Man 5, Stone Man is who I would recommend starting out with. Even though the weapon you get from him is not very good, one of his moves, the Power Stone, which on top of being a pretty good Dreamcast game, is not pretty good at hitting you, the way that it rotates around the screen. The only thing you have to worry about Stone Man doing, if he's feeling a little bolder, is jumping on your head. If he jumps too high, he'll crumble into bits, which makes him invincible for a brief second. Just keep moving out of the way, don't let him jump on your head, and you ought to rock him. Just don't take this win for granted. In Mega Man 5, if you choose to fight Charge Man, I wouldn't even recommend using his weakness, the Power Stone, because it's awful. But if you do decide to fight him, Buster only, which I would highly recommend, he has 2 moves that he does. One of which is where Charge Man charges at you, but if you keep moving the other way, he'll only move to where you were when you decide to start to charge. His other move, he'll shoot a bunch of steam in the air, and due to all the pollution in the steam, it'll come crashing down, harming you as well as the ecosystem. Just rail on Charge Man for a while, and with a little training, you'll kick his caboose. In Mega Man 5, Wave Man isn't a command, it's a robot master that's looking to drown you. For some reason, Charge Man's ability is strong against Wave Man. I would think trains are weaker to water, but I digress. Wave Man has 2 moves you have to worry about, one of which is where he shoots an anchor at you, which isn't too bad to just jump over it. What you really have to worry about is the water spouts that come up. They don't seem to come up with any sort of pattern. So just jump before it comes up, and if you're about to jump in the way, just try to navigate out of the way. And if you've waited until the end of the video for a hydration-related pun, what are you waiting for? In Mega Man 5, you get to battle Starman, not to be confused with Starman in pro wrestling for the NES. This Starman is weak to Wave Man's water attack, because I guess if you had enough water, you could extinguish a star. Starman's also not a bad choice to be the first robot master you fight, because in addition to getting his ability, you'll also unlock the Super Arrow, which will send you through levels at light speed. The main thing you have to worry about with Starman is him shooting his star barrier at you. Fortunately, because of the lack of gravity, it's very easy to jump over. So stay patient, stay far away, and most of all, try not to be starstruck. In Mega Man 5, Gravity Man has about 3 moves. The first move is Distort Gravity. This is the best time to hit him with your charge shot. His second move is just hit you with his normal buster. And so long as you move left and right, which isn't affected by gravity, you shouldn't be hit by his buster, so long as you stay far enough away. And thirdly, he'll jump around. And if you don't jump, because Gravity Man changing the gravity effectively does the jumping for you, you should be just fine, so long as you understand the gravity of the situation. In Mega Man 5, if you want to make quick work of Gyro Man, just use Gravity Man's ability. If you want to beat him with the Buster, bear in mind when his head's in the clouds, he'll try to jump on your head, so just keep moving so he can't do that. Otherwise, all you have to worry about is the propeller blades he shoots at you. If you're unable to slide out of the way, if you walk the opposite way and jump at the right time, you still don't have to worry about them hitting you. If you think this looks easy and this Robot Master won't beat you, well, this Gyro might. In Mega Man 5, Crystal Man is weak to Gyro Man's ability because propeller blades chop up crystals well. But if you want to beat Crystal Man with the Buster, first thing you gotta do is slide all the way to the right, so his bank shots don't hit you. Then you want to make it mostly all the way back to the left of the battlefield. so you don't have to worry about jumping over any of those bank shot crystals. Beyond that, if you're lucky, all Crystal Man will do is jump up and hit you with his regular buster. He can do other bank shots, and you will have to try to move accordingly if he does. Otherwise, your path to victory will be crystal clear. In Mega Man 5, Napalm Man is weak to crystals, and if you want to beat him without getting hit, one of the moves he does is shoots 3 missiles horizontally, and dodge them by either sliding or giving 3 not quite full jumps so you don't get hit. Otherwise, he'll jump where you are and throw napalm bombs into the air. Just walk and slide out of the way and vote nay on Napalm Man. Blizzard Man in Mega Man 6 is all about positioning. He has 2 moves, one where he turns himself into Snowball Man and charges himself into the wall, but if you're in about the center of the screen and jump over him, he's not going to hit you. Otherwise, he's going to start shooting snowflakes at you, where you should try to be on either the very left or very light of the screen, and jump if necessary. Just keep the pressure on with the buster, and Blizzard Man will be no problem. Plant Man in Mega Man 6 is weak to Blizzard Man's Frostbite, but if you want to beat Plant Man Buster only, this is how you do it. He only really has one move to speak of, where he puts on his plant barrier, jumps up into the air, lands back on the ground, plants himself firmly, and throws his plant barrier at you. In order to help maintain space, it's generally advised to stand in the corner, so if he decides to jump up, sometimes he will jump way over you, bounce off the wall, and then you'll have a fair bit of distance to jump over him and his plant attack. All in all, I didn't find Plant Man too bad, although I might be looking at this with rose-tinted glasses. In Mega Man 6, Yamato Man loves throwing spearheads at you, one of which is one horizontal one on the ground, which he'll chase after, which is the best time to hit him with your blaster. The other move he does is he jumps up in the air and shoots 3 spearheads at you. Generally speaking, if you move in the opposite direction of these spearheads, they'll whiz right by you. Also, please tell me in the comments what a Yamato is. I'm guessing it's not a crossbreed between a yam and a tomato. In any event, if you're enthusiastic about dodging his moves, that's the spirit. Nightman in Mega Man 6 can actually be a little tricky. He has a fully functional shield, which will cause the buster shots to bounce right off. However, if he's trying to attack you with his flail, that's the time where he drops his guard and you can shoot him. Also, if you time your shots right, he can jump right onto a shot, so it's something to bear in mind. Just make sure you're not cornered, or else you're going to jump right onto his flail. So just keep your distance from Nightman, and then you'll be the one that's saying, Night-night. Windman in Mega Man 6 has about the most ferocious magnet-like attack, where he pulls you towards him. He either keeps you in place while you walk away, or you even have to slide so he doesn't suck you in. If you bear that in mind, he only has 2 other things you have to worry about. One of which is where he uses his wind powers to go up into the air, and then to blow himself back down onto the ground on top of you. He'll also shoot 2 propellers at you that are shot in an interwoven pattern. If you're a certain distance away and you jump over it, it won't hit you, and if you're close enough to it and don't jump, it won't hit you either. I would advise jumping out of the way instead. Just take all these things into consideration, and you'll be able to take out this blowhard. Flame Man in Mega Man 6 is actually really tricky to beat Buster only without taking a hit. The flame pillar attacks he shoots up are hard to predict where they're going to come up, and they come up so quickly it can be hard to jump out of the way. If you stay kind of close to them, you're more likely to have them miss you, but also try to jump if you can, just to be safe. Other than that, he'll try to jump on your head, as well as shoot 3 fireballs at you. So stay close, jump over the fire pillars if you need to, and then you'll be able to extinguish this old flame. In Mega Man 7, the main thing you'll have to worry about when you're facing Burst Man is when he shoots out these bubble bombs. You cannot destroy them with one charge shot, and you can destroy them with a number of regular shots, but you're better off just jumping in between the bubbles. If you do happen to get trapped in one of the bubble bombs, you can mash fire to get out, and if you time it right, you should fall harmlessly back onto the ground and not onto a bomb that's exploding. Other than his bubble bombs, Burst Man can also shoot 3 vertical bubbles, which can be blown through with a charge shot, which I would highly recommend. And also, if you don't do a charge shot, sometimes Burst Man will cause bubbles to come from the ground, which you simply have to just move off of the bubble, and not get instant killed by the spikes up on top of the screen. So if you take your time and you time your shots, you'll be able to burst his bubble alright. In MegaMan 7, Cloudman will start every fight by flying up into the air and shooting a lightning bolt at you. Personally, I find Cloudman shoots the lightning bolt about a half second sooner than I expect it to, so I bear that in mind to jump out of the way. But be sure not to get caught by the residual static on the ground once the lightning bolt hits the ground. After that, Cloudman will use the power of wind and rain to either push you away or pull you towards him. Just be sure to jump over the ground static when necessary. Once the skies clear up, Cloudman will attempt to assault you with his massive girth, which can be avoided by just sliding under him. This is also a good opportunity to try to bait him over to one of the corners of the screen, thereby giving you more space next time he decides to do his rain blowing attack. So learn the pattern, whittle him down, and then you'll rain on his parade. In MegaMan 7, the most annoying move that Junkman does is rain garbage from the ceiling onto you. It's annoying because unless you pick the right place to not have garbage rained on you, you don't have the reaction time to get out of the way, so you're gonna get hit. So just hope you pick a good spot and you're lucky. Beyond that, Junkman will also make a square trash pile and shoot it at you, which you can simply jump over. He will then jump up into his trash and jump onto the aforementioned trash square. After he does that, though, he'll jump to the center of the screen or so you go to the other end of the screen, and jump over the straight line of trash that he shoots out. Lastly, he'll do a pattern where he jumps in a lowercase m shape. But if he jumps in a larger lowercase n shape, that means he's going to throw a heaping pile of garbage at you. So get the timing of Junkman's patterns down, and you'll send him to the scrap heap. In MegaMan 7, Springman has two moves you have to worry about outside of jumping on your head. He'll always start the contest by jumping really high up into the air, and then trying to punch you with his spring forearms. Just keep moving, slide twice to get out of the way. And then from there, make your way all the way back over to the wall. And if you time a charge shot just right, you'll eliminate one of two little springs that Springman will put onto the battlefield. After you take that one out, I'd recommend getting rid of the other one, and then focusing solely on Springman. From there, he'll just jump high up into the air again, and try to attack you with his spring forearms. Just keep up this pattern until Springman springs a leak. In MegaMan 7, we get to fight Shademan because they didn't want to call him Batman. Shademan has two sequences that you have to worry about. First of which being he'll fly up in the air and go back and forth, and leap down and try to suck some energy out of you. Right before he attempts to do this, try to have your back to him and slide out of the way. Give yourself enough room against the wall so you can do so. And then once Shademan is back on ground level, we'll start shooting these sequences of square beams at you. If they hit you, it's basically a petrification and you're guaranteed to get hit. After that, you get to learn the noise crush mechanic. Just slide under the first one, but they'll bounce off the wall, so slide again. Then once Shademan gets them back, he can fire even bigger noise crushes at you. And if you want to watch how to beat another Robot Master, tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. In MegaMan 7, Turbo Man also has two moves of doom. First we have the Scorch Wheel. Jump out of the way, but the next thing you have to worry about is the flames raining down upon you. I find that for the first one, if I just try to nestle in really close to Turbo Man, that it'll generally miss me. And for subsequent Scorch Wheels, try to get as far away from Turbo Man as possible. But I think it is slightly randomized. This just happened to work for me in this instance. And secondly, he uses his Vroom Vroom Amakar attack. In order to dodge this effectively, you have to use the audio cues. Because depending on the audio cue, that dictates when you jump. And if you can't hear the sound cue for whatever reason, just hope you're not going to get hit. And then after you beat Turbo Man, you can do a victory lap. In MegaMan 8, Grenade Man has quite a wide variety of moves you have to dodge. However, he still has somewhat of a fixed pattern. Every two moves that he does, he tries to charge into you with his body, so just jump over that. Otherwise, if he jumps in the air and throws 3 grenades, just try to get close to him and it'll miss every time. If he shoots a bomb into the wall, it'll make debris fall from the ceiling, so just try to avoid that. He'll also throw one of those bombs onto the ground, which you just gotta try to stay away from. After you do a certain amount of damage to Grenade Man, he'll blow up the floor, and then you gotta dodge him the same way, but now the ground is uneven, so you gotta be a little more careful. But if you keep it up, Grenade Man will go out with a bang. In Mega Man 8, Tengu Man is actually one of the most difficult Robot Masters to beat without taking a hit. The best rule of thumb is to try to stay under him the best that you can, and after he does his move, try to jump up and shoot him when he's in reach. Another thing to bear in mind is if Tengu Man is off screen, even if you would have hit him if he was on screen, it won't do any damage. Every so often he will try to dive bomb you. You can sometimes slide under it, but it's generally better to jump over that part and then slide away from him to get a free hit. He also does this wind ball attack where he says Tallahassee. If he does and you're close, you gotta jump over it. Otherwise, if you're really far away, don't jump. And of course, he also does the tornado hold, where that's about the only time I'd recommend trying to get away from Tengu Man if you aren't close enough to him. But like I said, rule of thumb, try to stay under Tengu Man and shoot him so many times he dissolves into a pile of Tengus. In Mega Man 8, Frostman is the biggest Robot Master up until this point, so in order to dodge him a lot of the time, you're gonna have to slide under him. But when he's attacking you, you can jump over a lot of it. He does have this punch, this frost punch attack that he does. He didn't do it in this fight, but if he does it to you, just be sure to jump his fist, but don't try to jump over him. He'll also smash the ground and try to hit you with some stalagmite icicles, so jump over those when that happens. If you notice the ice cubes have stopped above you, be sure to avoid them from falling on top of you. And from time to time, Frostman will also punch these ice cubes at you. He'll drop a couple and punch them at you. So be sure to jump or slide out of the way as necessary. Pretty cool. Mega Man 8. At the beginning of the bout with Clown Man, he grapples the hook up on the top of the screen, and then he'll start swinging around. He can swing around up to 3 times anytime he grapples up top, so just be mindful of that. Aside from that, Clown Man will also do the Thunderer Claw. When you hear him say that, just jump straight up in the air and off to the side a little bit and get another free hit. The most problematic thing that Clown Man does is the Thunderer Cannonball, where he'll bounce at you diagonally, but it's really more about positioning when he starts. Just try to slide out of the way. You don't really want to be in the corner unless you know for sure he's not going to go in that corner. Also, you don't want to be left in a position where you're near a corner and Clown Man is right next to you, because if he does the Thunderer Claw, he's going to hit you. If you can stay out of the way of that, you'll make a clown of him alright. In Mega Man 8, Aquaman, no, not that Aquaman, has a wide variety of water-based attacks for you to avoid. The most annoying of which is probably this water-bending attack. The most annoying part of this move is if you're really close to a wall and he does it, you just gotta kinda guess. Sometimes he'll shoot up and over you, other times you gotta jump over it. So you're gonna have to get lucky if you're in that situation. He'll also try to pelt you with some water balloons, but so long as you just stay close to Aquaman, you won't get hit by any of them. Aquaman will also jump really high up into the air and cause water to shoot out from the bottom. A big old geyser of water. Just stay away from that, and when he jumps to break it all, make sure you don't get hit by any of the splashback, and you should be able to get a free hit in as well. Aquaman, all things considered, isn't all that bad, so just keep charge-shotting him away, and Aquaman will be all washed up. In Mega Man 8, Swordman also suffers from Mega Man 8-itis, where I find Mega Man 8 bosses are the slowest paced battles in all of Mega Man. But if you want to dodge him, if he jumps straight up in the air, he'll drop this really large stone head on you. You have to commit to walking towards him, because if you think about going the other way for a second, you're gonna get hit by this giant head. Swordman also has your basic sword swipe type of attack, where you don't have to worry about getting hit by it so long as you don't crowd Swordman too much. You just keep your distance and you'll never get hit by this attack. Otherwise, he'll split himself in 2, try to get you with his legs, and other times he'll hit you with his fire tornado attack, which you can just slide under to and fro. Also, be sure not to jump into his sword when he's just standing there. That will still inflict damage. Just be patient with him too, and you should beat him pretty easily. Well, sort of easily. In Mega Man 8, when fighting against Searchman, you're surprisingly safe if you just stay snuggled up next to the door when Searchman drops 3 bushes from the sky. If he appears at the right-hand-most bush, Just be sure to walk to the center of the room a little bit and blow up all of the homing missiles he shoots at you. If he appears in the middle bush, you can just stay put and he won't hit you. And if he appears in the bush closest to you, he generally won't hit you, even though you're like kinda in what appears to be his hitbox. You're not completely safe here, but if all he does is shoot his homing missiles and jump straight up in the air, you are safe. The only other thing you have to worry about with Searchman is when he opens up his chest and just starts pummeling you with homing missiles that way. If you're lucky, you'll have a charge shot and you won't have to worry about jumping over the first couple, but you may have to dodge a little bit. But so long as you don't waste any motion, you should be able to find a path to victory. In Mega Man 8, when you do battle with Duo, he's got two moves you have to worry about, one of which is where he turns himself into a ball and bounces himself around at 90-degree angles. And his second move he'll telegraph it by jumping in the air, and when he lands, he's gonna do a charge punch, but he kinda homes in on you a little bit. If he's in the center of the screen, if you're kinda close to him and slide away, he won't hit you, but if you stay by the wall, he'll charge all the way and hit you anyway. So just be sure to dodge these two moves and you won't have a do-over. In Mega Man and Bass, today I present to you Cold Man, because we don't have enough synonyms for ice in the Mega Man universe yet. Typically, when I'm playing a Mega Man game, I tend to start with the cold-based Robot Masters. How about you guys? Let me know in the comments. In any event, Cold Man's not overly complicated. He'll formulate an ice spike and push it across the battlefield. You just gotta time your jumps, blast them in the face with your buster, rinse and repeat. The only other thing you have to concern yourself with is when Cold Man creates what I presume has to be a snow cloud. If this cloud grabs you, you'll have to flail around a fair bit to break free. However, if you stand by the garage door and time one jump just so, you can avoid the ice spike and shoot the cloud at the same time. We cool? Cool. In Mega Man and Bass, we have Ground Man. I've heard of ground beef, but Ground Man? Despicable. The most annoying move to dodge that Lean Ground Man does is his splitting drill attack. If it's just one big drill, it's not so hard to dodge, but if he splits it into 4 itty-bitty drills, good luck getting out of the way. Try to stay up in his business so you don't have to worry about them splitting before you can dodge. He also likes to turn into this auger tank thing, which is very jump-overable, so don't worry about it. Lastly, Ground Man will attempt to turn Mega Man into Ground Mega Man. This move is very telegraphed up on the ceiling, so when Ground Man, or rather now Ceiling Man, is close to you on your vertical plane, simply slide out of the way. You're grounded. Shiver me timbers, matey. In Mega Man and Bass, we be tackling the scurvy dog Pirate Man, yar. All seriousness aside, Pirate Man's favorite move is a doozy, where he shoots bombs where you're at on the battlefield. So in order to combat this, you want to try to stay all up close and personal as often as you can. Otherwise, you're pretty well guaranteed to get hit by these mines as the water gets lower in this arena. The straight back and forth bubbles aren't so bad to dodge, but when Pirate Man does the diagonal ones, especially when the water's kinda low, it can be difficult to get in a position to not get hit, or have him stop rolling under you. Fortunately, when the water gets low, Pirate Man fills the room back up. Not sure why a pirate has to be submerged underwater at all times, so plunder that booty when you get the chance and make him walk the plank, yar! In Mega Man 9, Splash Woman is the first female-inspired Robot Master, and offers a great weapon upon defeat. But in order to defeat her, she has two moves that you have to worry about. The first being she will whistle and summon some fish to come and attack you. There's a rhyme and a reason to how these fish appear on screen. After Splash Woman whistles, whichever wall she goes towards, the fish will come out of the opposite wall. So if she whistles and goes towards the wall with the door, but if Splash Woman goes towards that opposite wall, you can school these fish with one shot. Lastly, she'll blast you with her laser trident from up high. You can manipulate where she goes, so if you time where you walk properly, you'll be able to walk through safely between laser trident shots. She shoots off about 6 before she comes back down to the very sea floor. Keep up this pattern and you'll turn the tide in your favor. Mega Man 9 When you're facing off against Concrete Man, try to keep your distance the best as possible. But if Concrete Man shoots his concrete, and you're standing on the concrete that he shoots out, it absorbs the shock of when he slams into the ground, so you won't be stunned and you can just continue to shoot him. If Concrete Man has already shot his concrete, you can be sure that he's going to charge into the opposite side of the screen. Otherwise, it's a 50-50 chance whether he shoots his concrete or does the charge attack. And that's how you will cement your victory. In Mega Man 9, Galaxy Man isn't overly difficult, he just takes forever to beat. The main thing that Galaxy Man tries to do is suck Mega Man into his black hole. Anytime he tries to do this, just shoot him twice, if you have enough space, and just rinse and repeat. He's going to be doing this most of the time. Every so often, however, he is going to just kind of charge at you with a gradual curve, so depending on where you're standing when he starts, you either have to jump or not jump. You'll have to make a judgment call right when he starts moving. If you don't have the patience to beat him Buster only, you can always use Concrete Man's ability, because everyone knows that you can fill black holes with concrete. But if you have untold amounts of patience, follow this strategy I just laid out for you and plan it well. After you kick his asteroid, you'll be in for a stellar win. In Mega Man 9, Jewel Man's pattern is pretty simple, but surprisingly annoying to dodge. Using Galaxy Man's ability, the Black Hole Bomb, makes this fight so much easier. But Buster only, it's a pretty good challenge. The main thing Jewel Man's gonna do is walk back and forth with his Jewel Barrier up. And in order to dodge this, he jumps when you jump. So just be sure to do that in order to get under him without taking a hit. And after every 2 or 3 trips back and forth from the wall, Jewel Man will shoot the remaining Jewel Barrier that he has at you. But when he's going back and forth, if you shoot him in the jewels, one of them will come flying off, which makes it when he throws his entire Jewel Satellite at you, it makes it easier to dodge, as there's less stuff to dodge. If you're really accurate, you can shoot him without banging into any of his jewels, but I wouldn't really recommend doing this on purpose. So get used to the pattern, keep your distance, and Jewel have an easy time with Jewel Man. In Mega Man 9, Plugman's pattern isn't overly complicated, but it is pretty tricky to dodge. Plugman's favorite move is to fire 2 plug balls at you. To jump over them initially isn't the hard part. The hard part is when, after one of these plug balls is over top of you, it'll drop down onto you. So if you don't space yourself out correctly, you're gonna get hit by one of the plug balls. So you have to pay real close attention to where the ones on the ceiling are at all times. Outside of that, Plugman will either try to jump on your head or he's gonna do 4 little baby hops. But so long as you pay attention to your surroundings, you should be able to pull the plug on him. In Mega Man 9, this may come as a huge surprise, but Tornado Man tends to attack with tornadoes. He'll attack with 4 in any given set, and he'll do it 2 separate times. If you're up against the wall, if you just keep walking, you don't have to worry about getting hit with any of the tornadoes. Otherwise, you'll just have to figure out the spacing between the tornadoes so you can jump through them without being harmed. If the tornadoes touch you, it'll do damage. But the tornadoes will also make it so you jump higher, so you actually do have to worry about the spikes. After Tornado Man tries to attack you on 2 separate occasions with tornadoes, he'll try to jump on you from up above. So long as you keep moving, you shouldn't have to worry about getting hit. As long as you bear all these things in mind, you should be able to take Tornado Man by storm. In Mega Man 9, the first step to beating Magma Man is to go down the first step so his Fire Blast doesn't hit you. Beyond that, all you want to do is stay under him when he jumps. He can't shoot you with his Magma Blast if you're under him. Otherwise, you're almost certain to get hit by him. So just make sure you stay really close and again, stay under him the best you can. I wouldn't typically advise this for anything involving Magma, but in Mega Man 9, this is my advice. I lava defeated Magma Man. In Mega Man 10, Sheep Man's favorite move is turning into 4 thunderclouds and trying to electrocute you. The cloud that is actually Sheep Man is always the last one to move, and the clouds move in the order they'll electrocute you. The thing to bear in mind about the Sheep Man cloud is, on top of the lightning he throws on the ground, 2 little lightning balls will shoot out as well, so be sure to jump over those if you're far enough away. Speaking of being far away, do your best to stay far away from Sheep Man, because then you can tell if he's gonna do an electric attack that goes up and down more aggressively, or if it's a more low-lying electrical blast. And a quick side note here, if you happen to be playing as Bass, You're able to shoot Sheepman out of Thundercloud form if you can keep an eye on him. So keep your distance as Sheep form, and keep your eye on him in Thundercloud form, and you will have an easy time with Sheepman. In Mega Man 10, Pumpman, could you please stop doing that in front of me? Jeez. Pumpman's main move is putting up a barrier of water around him. And I find that the best way of dealing with this is to just shoot at the barrier as quickly as you can. While it's forming, you cannot destroy any of the bubbles, but as soon as it's formed, the bubbles can break. And I find if I just kind of hammer the fire button, it'll just so happen to destroy the bubble that'll tend to appear below Pumpman when he jumps and shoots his water barrier at you. In this battle, I only didn't succeed in that maybe once, but then I was just in the right position to not get hit by the barrier anyway. But otherwise, if you shoot the correct bubble, and you just stand under Pumpman, you'll be safe. Rinse and repeat, and you should have no problem with Pumpman, so long as you can handle the pressure. In Mega Man 10, if you don't want to mess around with Solar Man with the Buster, I would highly recommend using his weakness, Pumpman's Water Barrier, which should put a damper on Solar Man's fiery rage. However, if you still want to tackle him with the Buster, the best way I find of dealing with Solar Man is to try to stay in the middle of the screen the best I can, and try not to stand on a pillar on either side of the screen. I just find it's easier to get hit that way, personally. And in order to inflict damage on Solar Man, if you try to shoot him when he's standing, he's going to absorb your shots into his sun brain, making it larger. Then when he shoots a Solar Blast, they have a much wider hitbox, making it a lot harder to dodge. So if you time your shots just right, so you either shoot him before he puts his head down to absorb the shot, or just as soon as he jumps up into the air, you shouldn't have to worry about the extra large shots coming back at you. Keep these tips in mind, and you'll be able to kick Solar Man where the sun don't shine. In Mega Man 10, Chill Man is another one of those Robot Masters with those fun, slip-slidey mechanics. Because of this, you really don't want to have your back to the wall at any point, because if Chill Man shoots out his 2 ice spike strips, if your back's against the wall and he shoots one of those spike strips above you and he jumps near you, you're guaranteed to take a hit. So you gotta find that sweet spot in the middle, where you're in a position where you're between the 2 spike strips, and you don't have any momentum going towards any of them. So you can safely jump over Chill Man, take hits whenever you can get them, and that's how you're gonna get him to chill, man. In Mega Man 10, if you're looking to trivialize this fight with a weakness, you're gonna want to use Chill Man's ice spike strips to give Nitro Man some flat tires. However, if you just want to use the Buster, Nitro Man can be really annoying to dodge unless you manipulate his every movement. Anytime Nitro Man drives himself up the wall, try to position Mega Man under him near the wall. Not only will that give you more space to jump over Nitro Man's discount metal blades, but it'll also help fix their positions because they'll drop down on top of you, and if you position them just right, it won't be nearly as frantic trying to dodge around all of them. If you can get used to that, all you gotta do from there is just shoot him while he's driving back and forth trying to hit you, and keep it up for long enough, and Nitro Man's gonna crash and burn. In Mega Man 10, what you need to concern yourself with Commando Man is that when he jumps up into the air, his missiles will home in on you one time. So if you're more or less under him, he'll shoot his missile basically straight down, so just keep moving one direction and jump out of the way. Every so often, however, Commando Man is gonna shoot a missile straight ahead. Only way you can really tell this is his animation's different shooting the missile. Just stick and move and you'll be successful at going commando. In Mega Man 10, Blade Man might be the easiest Robot Master in Mega Man 10, once you know his pattern. Every so often though, he is going to jump out of his typical pattern to try to jump into you. But just kind of keep an eye out for it, don't get too stuck in your pattern. But beyond that, pretty well what you want to do is whatever side that Blade Man is hanging out at, whatever ceiling he's hanging up by, walk towards the nearest wall, and his 3 blades will miss you every time. So just do that for like 4 minutes, and you'll be able to show Blade Man that you're a cut above the rest. In Mega Man 10, if you want to get a strike on Strike Man, you're going to want to keep yourself and Strike Man right down the middle. You must envision yourself as though you are in a baseball game of your own. If you go too far left or go too far right, it's really easy to get trapped in a corner and get beamed by Strike Man. Strike Man's breast cancer awareness baseballs are actually homing and don't just bounce off the walls at 90-degree angles. So that's why you want to position yourself in the middle, so you can dodge under Strike Man when he's bouncing around, and also guide the breast cancer awareness baseballs away from hitting Mega Man. Keep your eye on the ball and you'll hit that home run. In MegaMan Seeeeeevveeeeeen, Impact Man, much like all the Mega Man 11 bosses, has a wide assortment of moves that you have to worry about because of the gear system. They'll most likely open up with just charging into the wall. You jump up over it, and use the speed gear if you need to. Impact Man will also railroad 3 spikes into the ground. Fortunately, you can just shoot them out of the way with your regular buster, so you don't even have to worry about it. After you get Impact Man about halfway defeated, he's going to use his power gear and turn real big. So just make sure when you're under him, slide out of the way, use the speed gear if you need to. After a few gigantic railroading attempts, Impact Man's gear system will fry, and he'll revert back to normal. So fight fire with fire, use gears on gears, and that's how you make an impact. In MegaMan Seeeeeevveeeeen, we fight Bounce Man. He'll punch the ground, and he's gonna bounce around. You shoot him while he's bouncing around, you'll change the trajectory of his bouncing around. Use the speed gear when you need to get out of the way of his bouncing around. Every so often, though, between the bouncing around, Bounce Man will try to hit you with a bonsai drop. Keep an eye out for that, use the speed gear if you have to. Then, surprise, surprise, when Bounce Man uses his speed gear, he bounces around much faster. But when he's bouncing around faster, you shooting him doesn't mess with his trajectory at all. Worry more about staying safe. Take a free hit if you got one. Then once his gears are all used up, Bounce Man will revert to his old pattern. Now that you know what to do against Bounce Man, have a ball. In MegaMan Seeeeeevveeeeen, Fuse Man for his normal phases will always have 2 energy balls rotating around the screen. In addition to that, Fuse Man will zap around. When Fuse Man zaps from one place to another, you can get hit by the energy he leaves behind. So be mindful of full jumps to dodge the energy balls and his zap trail. And after his zap trail, he'll do a regular shot to you as well. After some time, he'll do his speed gear, and he'll do a handful of zigzagging all the way up and straight down electricity attacks. Once he's poised to go straight down, if you slide out of the way, that should give you more than enough room to not get hit. And once Fuse Man stops that, he has a phase like his previous one, except he shoots more electricity at you. I feel like for positioning purposes, there's certain points where it's easier to use the speed gear to get out of the way. Keep grounded, and this boss will blow a fuse. In MegaMan Seeeeeevveeeeen, Tundraman will skate back and forth at you a whole bunch. That's how he likes to attack. But he does do it in a pattern. So once you figure out his pattern, you just dodge accordingly. Jump over him when you need to, slide under him when he jumps. That should be good for the first phase. Once you do enough damage, he'll go into his second speed gear phase. Then he'll skate back and forth even faster. Use the speed gear if you must, but you don't have to dodge these. And to finish this phase, he'll jump up and try to do a screen nuke. So get as close as you can to the wall to stay at a range for that. And he goes back to his old pattern. But you won't have to see a lot of that if you've done a tundra damage. In MegaMan Seeeeeevveeeeen, a lot of the time, Torchman will start the battle by shooting one low fiery rock, then a slightly taller one, then a slightly shorter one. However, you can jump over all 3. The move that gets me the most often is when Torchman flies himself really high up into the air and tries to deliver a flaming kick to Mega Man. But I find the best way of dealing with this is by sliding under his kick. Also, every so often, Torchman will do a spinning middle kick, sometimes up to 3 in a row, but you can jump over them relatively easily. But if you're able to survive all of that, Torchman will begin his power gear phase, where he shoots 3 flaming circles at you. I like to jump over him with the speed gear just to be safe. And then right before his power gear wears off, Torchman will do the hot version of Tundraman's screen nuke attack, which isn't actually a screen nuke in this case. Just stay away from him. Just stay away. Keep the heat on Torchman, and then he'll go down in flames. In MegaMan Seeeeeevveeeeen, for the first few batch of bombs, you don't even have to move. You can just jump at the right time, and you won't get blown up. But once Blastman puts down the chain bombs, that's when you need to start moving around. You may as well get them all to start following you and then just go the opposite way after Blastman jumps over. Soon enough, Blastman's gonna start throwing power bombs. Do what you did for the smaller set of 5 bombs, only walk backwards and jump. Try to give yourself space away from the bigger explosion. And eventually Blastman will just get tired and throw regular bombs again. What a blast indeed. In MegaMan E11, Blockman, for his feeling you out phase, will start with dropping 4 bricks on top of you. But he spaces them out so nicely that you can just stand in between them as they fall. He'll also try to run and jump into you, so time your shot accordingly. After you deal enough damage, Blockman gets really angry with you and uses his power gear. For this phase, try your best not to get cornered, but if you do, use the speed gear to dodge if you can. Blockman goes in for the punch. Also be mindful of the placement of his knee. It's easy for him to knee you in the face. And when he throws blocks at you in this form, just speed gear through if you need to. After you take out Blockman's power gear form, he launches into desperation mode and just starts hurling bricks at you horizontally. So long as you have a fully charged up shot, you don't even have to dodge. And then all that's left is to knock his block off. Haha! In MegaMan E11, Acid Man will start the battle by surrounding himself with a big ol' acid barrier. How I like to deal with this is just simply use the speed gear and button mash MegaMan's pea shooter until the acid barrier is broke. Don't get too close because the acid barrier can splatter on you, and also try to run away from the shots. Once that's dealt with, Acid Man will try to shoot you where you are. So if you wait until the first shot to jump, he'll shoot 1 low, 1 high, 1 low. Then you just gotta run under him when he jumps over you. Eventually, Acid Man will go into his speed gear phase. I find the best way of dealing with this is when he's swimming towards you, jump over the acid that's spraying out of the ground. But then when you hit the ground, immediately jump a second time. And you shouldn't have to worry about getting hit by his projectiles. Keep this up and you'll show Acid Man that he's actually pretty basic.